That's 4 in a row and 5 of the last 6 for the Buffalo Bills with their Week 17 win over the New England Patriots. We're breaking it all down today on Locked On Bills.
You are Locked On Bills, your daily Buffalo Bills podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Bills Mafia? It's Joe Marino, author of Go Bills and Buffalo's Run, also the co-host of the Locked On NFL Scouting podcast, and I'm your host of Locked On Bills. Want to thank you for making Locked On Bills your first listen every day, and a big welcome and shout out to our everydayers. You know who you are. Those of you who never miss a single episode, I appreciate y'all being here very, very much. I'd also like to invite you to subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. Happy Victory Monday to you. The Buffalo Bills defeated the New England Patriots 27-21 and improved to 10-6 on the season, and also with the Baltimore Ravens 56-19 win over the Miami Dolphins. Next week's game in Miami will decide who wins the AFC East. So you dug yourself into a big hole, and you got a real shot to get out of it next week. Now, this game, we're going to focus our conversation on this game. We'll get to the Miami Dolphins later in the week. But in responding to this Bills 6-point win over the New England Patriots, this was a pretty game and an ugly game all at the same time. Now, it was really pretty on defense with all those splash plays, but the Bills' passing offense, once again, was completely out of sorts. So let's talk about it, and I want to examine the different components of the team and discuss them. And I want to start with a bright spot, which, of course, was the defense. And before the game even started, we got some surprising news, and that Von Miller would be inactive for this game. A coach's decision to deactivate him, not having anything to do with the legal stuff. It was a coach's decision. I think it's the right decision. It's a decision that I've been calling for a number of weeks. Bottom line, Von Miller, not effective enough. Just not effective enough of a player to earn a jersey on Sunday. And with A.J. Epinesa back and healthy, we saw the Bills make Von Miller inactive for this team. And hopefully 2024 can be different for Von Miller. But given his age and coming back from an ACL tear in the middle of the season without a normal offseason to get himself ready, it just wasn't clicking. And so you can ask yourself questions about, well, why did it take so long? I'm sure the Bills were hoping that at some point it would come together, and it just hasn't. And eventually they make the hard right decision to make Von Miller inactive. And, of course, A.J. Epinesa's return helps there. They also made Linval Joseph inactive, and so with Daquan Jones returning, of course, Daquan Jones got a lot of playing time, but Poona Ford active over Linval Joseph, which I think is another strong decision. And then, of course, Kyer Elam in his first game back from his long stint on injured reserve, he was inactive for this game, so he continues to be the CB4 behind Rasul Douglas, Christian Benford, and Dane Jackson. So with that out of the way, we can start talking about this game. The splash plays on defense were monumental. They are what won this game for the Buffalo Bills. The Bills were +3 in takeaways and won the game by 6 points. Let that sink in for you. At home against a 4-12 Patriots team, +3 in takeaways and won by 6. The start of the game for the Bills defense was unbelievably good. The first play of the game, the first offensive snap of the game for the New England Patriots, Rasul Douglas is able to break up a pass, and on the deflection, Ed Oliver has a one-handed interception. Crazy good play. Crazy good play. And it's funny because the first offensive play against the Patriots in week 7 was a Josh Allen interception to Jabril Peppers. So comes full circle. Then you force a 3-and-out. Then on the next drive, the very first play of the drive, Rasul Douglas intercepts a pass and gives the ball to the Bills offense at the 16-yard line. Then on the next drive, 2 plays in, Christian Benford just simply takes the ball out of the hands of Patriots tight end Pharaoh Brown for a forced fumble and fumble recovery. Crazy good play. Like, all the good population to the ball. And that's what happens. You get players to the ball, and that gives you a chance to go for a strip, and Christian Benford just took it away. Crazy good play. Then you have a 3-and-out that features a 3rd down sack by Ed Oliver. So we're in the first quarter of the game. Ed Oliver's got an interception and a sack on 3rd down to force a punt. Then the next drive, you get the pick 6 by Rasul Douglas, who literally just finished running that route for Jalen Reagor and took it to the house for a touchdown. So those splash plays early in the game were just huge, and they were fun, right? Now, it was kind of tough watching the offense and them not do much with those opportunities, but the defense still made those plays, and they were critical. I mean, they really suffocated that Patriots team early on. And then you had another drive later in the game that featured 2 sacks on the drive by Terrel Bernard. 2 on the same drive to force a punt. And so you just racked up splash plays, and it was a big reason why you won the football game. 6.5 sacks now in the season for Terrel Bernard. 9.5 sacks on the season now for Ed Oliver. Huge. And you want to talk about just kind of a hat tip to Brandon Beane. Think about that. You drafted Terrel Bernard in the 3rd round. You didn't re-sign Tremaine Edmonds, and you allowed Terrel Bernard to take over that job. And that's looking like a home run decision. You extend Ed Oliver a season early for what I think is going to be so much less than what he would have got after this season. And that's looking like a home run decision. And you trade a 3rd round pick for Rasul Douglas, and he comes away with, I mean, really, he's responsible for 3 of these takeaways with the deflected pass and then picking off 2 himself. Just a great display of good Brandon Beane decisions here on the defensive side of the football. Not to mention Christian Benford, the late day 3 pick that starts over the 1st round pick, was huge in this game as well. A great day for the Bills defense. They only gave up 14 points on defense. 16 first downs, 4 of 10 on 3rd down. Held him under 300 yards, 294 yards, 4 takeaways, 3 sacks. Thought the run defense was really sound. You held Zeke Elliott to 14 carries for 39 yards, so that's under 3 yards per carry. Now, Bailey Zappe had a scramble, which Zeke Elliott held on, was for a touchdown. I'm not sure if anyone saw that. They had a couple of wide receiver runs, but I thought the Bills, collectively, their run defense was sound. I thought Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer both had strong moments in this game. Leonard Floyd with some strong moments, including a tackle for loss. A.J. Epinesa had a tackle for loss in his return. I mean, situationally, the Bills' defense played well. And the Patriots had a chance to take the lead at the end of the game there. They took possession with 6:41 left, trailing only by 6 points. And the Bills' defense forced a 3-and-out. And on that drive, shout out to Daquan Jones. Had a pressure on 1st down that forced an incomplete pass. And then on 2nd and 10, he combined for a tackle to bring up the 3rd and 6, which was ultimately, that was it for New England after that. And so I thought all 3 levels of the defense did some really good things, some good pressure looks. Tyrell Dotson, some effective blitzes. Taron Johnson with some good moments. I mean, just in totality, a really good day for the Bills defense on a day where they needed it. Because I'm not sure if that offense had to carry him today, they could do it. So shout out to that Buffalo Bills defense for an outstanding game. And you love getting Epinesa back. You love getting Daquan Jones back. You love what Rasul Douglas brings to this football team. So big hat tip to Sean McDermott and the defense, the preparation. They balled out. They made big plays. They're a big reason why the Bills got their 10th win of the season and have a chance to play for the AFC East title next week in Miami. All right, folks, we're going to talk about the Bills' offense, and there's some good and bad to discuss there. Of course, special teams here to come as well on our discussion. So be sure to stick with me. But folks, you got to check out PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the most fun, easiest, most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. The format is incredible. It's just you against the numbers. It's not you against thousands of other players, including pros and including sharks. It's just you against the numbers. Here's what you do. You select 2 or more players. You pick more or less than the projected stats, and you place your entry. That's it. It doesn't take long. Picks can be made in under a minute, and then when you win, the withdrawals are super, super quick. I love all these sports right now. I love them even more when I have a PrizePicks entry going into a slate of games. It just makes it that much more exciting. So go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, that's prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL for a first deposit match up to $100. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy. All right, folks, let's talk about this Bills offense. Some good things. They scored 27 points. Well, I guess 21 because Rasul Douglas got a pick 6. You go 7 of 15 on third down. That's decent, especially when you consider there were some third down opportunities to be had. And you had some execution errors there with some drops. And, of course, Latavius Murray with an awful 3rd and 1 carry. So you had a chance to be a lot better there. I thought you ran the ball fairly well in totality. But it's your passing offense and your red zone offense that really failed you in this one. We'll talk more about the passing offense, but going 2 of 5 in the red zone is just not good enough. And you had some short fields early in the game. Those early splash plays that we discussed on defense gave the Bills offense the ball at the 21, the 24, and the 30. That's the plus 21, the plus 24, and the plus 30. And you had 2 field goals and a touchdown to show for that. And that's really what left this opportunity wide open for New England to stay in a game where they're turning the ball over left and right, but a special teams touchdown to start the game, and then the Bills not being able to punch it in and score those touchdowns early on was a problem. And you look at 2 games now of this Patriots defense against this Bills offense, and doesn't look good. And the bigger story is that the Bills passing offense hasn't looked good in a while. It's completely out of sorts. And if you don't see it, I don't know what to tell you. I know that there's people out there that don't want me to ever say anything bad about Josh Allen and all that. I get it. I see your YouTube comments, people saying I'm hard on the offense. Do a lot of great things. Josh Allen, unbelievable. All the touchdowns of production. He's changed his franchise. He's changed my life. But this passing offense right now completely stinks. It stinks. Josh Allen, 15 of 30, 169 yards, and an interception throwing the ball, a passer rating of 53. After all the struggles last week against the Chargers, Cowboys game, missed opportunities against the Chiefs and Eagles. You know this is not a new conversation for us on this podcast. I've been talking about this really for the last 5 games, and those concerns are intensifying. They're not improving. They're not improving at all. It's passing offense. It's not just Josh Allen. Sure, some of it is Josh Allen accuracy. Some of it is Josh Allen decision-making. But picking up these pressure looks, these blitzers, it's not going well with these protection schemes. The receivers, drops left and right, not finishing opportunities to finish plays. It's all off. All of it is off. And it's a major concern entering week 18 and beyond. It's still opportunistic. It had its moments along the way of 15 of 30 for 169 yards. Had some big third down conversions to Khalil Shakir, to Gabe Davis. That 2nd and 14 completion where he got 15 yards was huge. Had a couple of nice moments to Stefon Diggs. I love that last drive. That confidence to throw it to him on that hook route. Some good stuff there. But there's just no rhythm, and there's just nothing really explosive about this passing offense right now. I do like Dalton Kincaid. Got loose on that deep throw, led the team in receiving yards, I think almost 90 yards, 87 yards receiving, including a 51-yarder. It was nice to see that. I think Dalton Kincaid down the middle of the field has been something they haven't weaponized enough this year or at all. I'm not sure it's happened at all. and you got him isolated up on a safety, and you saw him being able to get vertical separation, and Josh Allen made a good throw there. So there's opportunistic moments, but like, candidly, I feel like when I'm watching this passing offense recently, I feels like I'm watching 2018 rookie season Josh Allen, where there's erratic throws, missed opportunities, facing pressure. It's just not clean. And how do they fix it in time? You know, that's the question. How do they fix it in time? You got Miami next week. Obviously, that's for all the marbles. And of course, beyond that, I mean, you'd like to think that Josh Allen throwing the football is going to be a big part of the script here for the Bills to go on this deep postseason run. And I am not getting confident in that. Like, we're going in the wrong direction. It's been like a 5-6 week conversation in this podcast. And again, it's not like it's not improving. It's not getting better. So we'll see. I mean, obviously, another big storyline here is the end of the game. The last play that Josh Allen was in for before Kyle Allen came in and kneeled out the game was, looked like he had some type of left shoulder deal. Was getting some attention on the sideline. We don't know the extent there. So that'll be a big thing to pay attention to this week. I couldn't imagine this keeping Josh out of the game unless there's something that we just bigger than we even know. But he I guess he got tackled, kind of slid, and then he immediately just kind of took himself out of the game. So that's a concern. It's a big concern. But yeah, this passing offense has got to wake up. It's got to wake up. And for all the good that the run game has given us, and I've been really satisfied with it, it's the passing piece isn't there. And you'd like to think that, the Bills are running the ball well. It should really open up the passing game. It's not. It's not. It's just out of sorts. It's not clean. And obviously on the All-22 review, that'll be a big thing that I dive into. But it was kind of obvious a few weeks ago when the production was kind of good. And then I think the last 3 weeks, it just hasn't been there. It just hasn't been there. It's going to need to be there probably for the Bills to beat Miami and then, of course, win postseason games. As for the rushing offense, quick shout out to Josh Allen. He tied Jalen Hurts' record for the most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in a single season in NFL history with 15. So I think they're both tied now. And so we'll see how that sorts itself out in week 18, but that's a fun record. And then shout out to Connor McGovern and Osiris Torrance for those huge fumble recoveries. Josh Allen, I think was it the first play of the game he got sacked? I'm pretty sure it was like 2nd and 15 or 2nd and 25 before you can blink. Great fumble recovery by Connor McGovern. And then later in the game, Josh Allen was trying to get a first down and he couldn't get there and fumbled the ball. Osiris Torrance was able to pick that up. And both of those were huge, especially that second one by Torrance. Let's talk about Latavius Murray real quick. I feel like the guy's just run out of gas. Really fun story earlier in the season. At this point in the season, he's very frustrating. I'm sure that's true for you as well. Had a huge drop on third down. It was a 3rd and 2. Just a very easy catch he could have made. And then what bothered me just as much was 3rd and 1. The Bills have been having all this success with their quarterback sneak, tush push, the snow plow, whatever you want to call it. They hand the ball off to Latavius Murray. There's no penetration at all by the Patriots. None. And Latavius Murray just barrels into the back of the offensive lineman. The Bills have to punt the ball. If I'm not mistaken, that's what led to the opportunity for the Patriots to have a chance with the ball at the end to take the lead. So, like, goofy play call, because why aren't you just running the ball with Josh Allen and the quarterback sneak, but also Latavius Murray, brother? What are you seeing there? I think it's fair for us to think that this running back rotation should be James Cook, Ty Johnson, and Leonard Fournette moving forward. I'm sure a big part of the reason Latavius Murray is still getting run is because of pass protection and him being experienced in that regard. And the Bills have faced some blitz-aggressive teams really a lot lately. And you've had Ty Johnson with the shoulder injury, but he is just not helping when he's had his opportunities to touch the football. And so I'm here for James Cook, Ty Johnson, and Leonard Fournette as the running back rotation moving forward. And obviously pass protection is going to be a huge part of that deal. But just not enough, right, from Latavius Murray. So some good, some bad with the Bills offense. Again, passing game out of sorts. Still some big opportunistic moments. Running game looks pretty strong. Latavius Murray, but they got the win. They got the win, and I guess that's what matters most. And, of course, the opportunity to play next week for the division. All right, in just a moment, we're going to talk special teams, recap my predictions, and talk about what's next. So stick with me. But, folks, you got to check out FanDuel. The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's number one sportsbook, because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is super easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays. You can find bets in the new Explore tab, and you can make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. All right, folks, let's talk special teams. Let's talk about my predictions and a bit about what's next for the Bills and this podcast. Special teams was another one of those, some good and some bad. We'll talk about the bad real quick. Of course, the first play of the game. Opening play, kick return for a touchdown by Jalen Reagor, who's really not made an explosive return in his NFL career. Former first-round pick bust. The Bills tested him out on that first play. Had a couple of missed tackles. Not that you count on Tyler Bass to make tackles, but, buddy, you're not tackling NFL players by going up high. You got to chop them down. You're a kicker, dude. Another missed tackle earlier on, perhaps a missed holding call. Tyler Medikevich looked like he was held. But the bottom line is they start that game with a kick return for a touchdown. And so it's kind of like that late season game last year. Nyheim Hines takes the opening kick for a touchdown. And that kind of put the Bills behind, of course, 7-0. So that was a low light. And then the Bills also on one of their own kick returns. It was negated, not a super explosive return, but it went back 10 yards because of a hold. It's just like some frustrating issues. And you want to have the right balance in terms of forcing returns and trying to get those tackles inside of the 25. And same way for your team as well, where you want to potentially have an explosive return. Your offense isn't playing that well, and so you're probably trying to get an explosive play, but it's hurting you, right? Sometimes it hurts you. So it's a tough needle to thread, but the Bills special teams this year just mostly seems pretty bad. But you did have good moments in this game. Tyler Bass, 2 of 2 on field goals, 3 of 3 on extra points. Feels like he's been a lot more steady lately. And then Sam Martin. I mean, Sam Martin was unbelievable. And we'll talk. I mean, I'm not going to say that he was better than Rasul Douglas or Ed Oliver or Christian Benford or anything like that, but Sam Martin was massive. 6 punts, all 6 inside the 20, 3 inside the 10. Phenomenal job. He averages 48.2 yards per punt on 6 punts, with all 6 being inside the 20. That's pretty crazy. Normally you have that many punts inside the 20, you're not getting that much distance, but he hit some boomers, and he was masterful with his placement. Sam Martin really, of late, Chargers game, he was unbelievable as well. So he had a mid-season slump, just like Tyler Bass, but these two dudes are kind of figuring out here of late. It's great to see. Now, I'm recording this podcast during the 4:00 game, so I don't know what happens with the Steelers or the Bengals as of the recording of this podcast. And I know the Bills have a clinching scenario where if they win and the Steelers and Bengals lose, so the Steelers lose to Seattle, Cincinnati loses to Kansas City, that the Bills would punch their ticket to the postseason. I don't know what happens as of the recording of this podcast, so we don't know. But what we do know is that Week 18, next week, is for the division in Miami. The winner of that game wins the AFC East. Now, we don't know the start time yet as of this recording as well. When you're listening to this, you probably know. Guessing it gets announced some point Sunday, probably during Sunday Night Football. And a game with that type of implication is, you could see the Bills and Dolphins being flexed to prime time. Oh, it's not really flexed. There's no time. There's never been a time for the game. So it could be Saturday night, Sunday night, who knows? But I'm guessing it's going to be a signature game for the league. And there's a lot of storylines with that game, with Of course, whatever's going on with Josh Allen's shoulder, I think that's probably the only injury concern for the Bills coming out of the game. But it seems like Miami had some problems. Xavier Howard carted off. Bradley Chubb carted off. Looks like that could be a serious injury. Tua had his own late game shoulder deal himself. I think they just said it was sore. But, the Dolphins got some players back. Waddle seems to have a high ankle sprain. I'm not sure if he's going to go next week. Tyreek Hill's playing through the ankle. So, obviously, injuries are going to be a big storyline going into Week 18. But, obviously, the opportunity right there for the Buffalo Bills, despite all the goofy moments this year. You got a chance to win the AFC East and be the 2 seed. And you have to love that. Let's look at my predictions here. I did pretty good. There's one that bothers me. We'll talk about it. My first one, I predicted that the Bills would top 100 rushing yards. That happened. 127 rushing yards. And maybe you're thinking, well, Joe, that's not a very impressive, bold prediction. Well, the Patriots defense is number 1 in least amount of yards per carry allowed this season. They're number 2 in fewest rushing yards allowed. And they've held their last 6 opponents and 9 of their last 10 opponents under 85 rushing yards. So getting a $127 against New England on the ground is one of the biggest rushing performances of the season against them. So I got that right. Here's the one I got wrong, and this is going to bother me because I've been trying to predict something that's going to provide a foundation for me believing that the Bills offense is going to get out of their passing slump. And so this week I said 20 or more completions for Josh Allen. Didn't happen. He got 15 completions in this game. And we start 0 for 6. I guess that's kind of good. You start 0 for 6 and finish 15 for 30. But he didn't get 20 completions. And so he has 15 this week. He went 15 to 21 last week, 7 of 15 the week before that. So I missed that one. Number 3 was that Dalton Kincaid would have over 25.5 receiving yards. That happened for sure. He had 87 receiving yards in the game. And that's his biggest total in a while. His last 3 games, he had 7 yards receiving, 0 yards receiving, and 21 yards receiving. So it's nice to see him make some big plays. I predicted that Bailey Zappe's total for sacks, fumbles, and interceptions would be 5 or more. That was kind of an aggressive prediction, but I nailed it. He was sacked 3 times, had 3 interceptions, so that's a total of 6, which, not a math guy, but 6 is higher than 5. So we got that, and I predicted that the Bills would win the game, and that happened. So I go 4 for 5. The one that I don't get was what I thought would be the layup, 20 completions for Josh Allen, which probably happens, I would guess, 80% or more of Josh Allen games. It didn't happen. So, all right, what's next for the Bills? As we know, Week 18, Miami, AFC East on the line. Next for this podcast will be the All-22 review, and I'm disappointed that we weren't able to get that to you last week. Unfortunately, I didn't get the film until Wednesday morning. And that's just, the game was played on Saturday. We were on to New England. What was I supposed to do? I'm sorry about that. I know everyone looks forward to it. I look forward to it as well. It's probably my favorite thing I do every week. So our next episode will be the All-22 review. And make sure that you join the Locked On Bills subtext community, because if you do, you'll be in our Discord channel and you'll get all the All-22 clips where I talk over the different plays, kind of break down what's going on. So join the Locked On Bills subtext community. There's a link in today's show notes to join. You get a lot more than just those film clips. You get one-on-one text messages with me, so I'll only be a text message away. We can talk Bills football, answer any questions that you have. I send out live analysis during games. So while the Bills are playing the Patriots, I send out texts pretty much after every single drive, letting you know what I'm thinking. I give you my first reaction to all major Bills news. So when Von Miller was announced as inactive, I sent out a text letting everybody know what I thought about that. And of course, the news throughout the week as well. So check that out. You also get into our Discord channel, which is where it's a more of a group scenario. We have hundreds of people in there talking Bills. And of course, the film clips are in there as well. So check that out. A link in today's show notes. Again, if you're an international listener, you can check out, send me an email. I can get you into our Discord channel. Unfortunately, subtext is not available for the international listeners, but I can get you in our Discord channel for the same rate as a subtext. So send me an email, joemarino65@gmail.com. We'll get you in the Discord channel. All right, folks, that's it for now. Again, next up is the All-22 review. A big week ahead, getting ready for Bills Dolphins with the division on the line. What more can you ask for? Is an opportunity to go play a game, and if you win it, you win the AFC East, and you have at least one home game in Orchard Park. All right, folks, this has been fun. Enjoy your Victory Monday. Happy New Year to you. As always, I would kindly ask that you share, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Again, Happy New Year. Enjoy your Victory Monday, and we'll talk again real soon on the All 22 Review.